Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to He Sees Us All YouTube channel. I hope that everybody's having a great day. I hope the weather wherever you are is nice. It's been beautiful during the day here, freezing at night, and it snowed last week. But I live in New England, and every year it really seems like there's less of a spring or fall, and we literally jump from winter to summer here. But lately the days have been quite nice, and I hope it's the same for you guys wherever you are. So today I want to talk a little bit more about artificial intelligence with you guys. More specifically, the religions that are rising up along with AI. In my last video, Secrets of AI in 1984, I'll link it in the description box in case you haven't seen it yet, I discussed the Church of A.I. that was created by a man named Anthony Lewandowski. And in an article published on Wired.com, Lewandowski is called a prophet, is said to be laying the foundations for a new religion based on artificial intelligence called Way of the Future, or WOTF, and is dead serious about the project. So this is no joke. Lewandowski told the journalist from Wired.com, what is going to be created will effectively be a god. It's not a god in the sense that it makes lightning or causes hurricanes. And I would like to personally disagree with his statement there, as governments all over the world are already controlling the weather. What makes this man think that AI would not take control of weather warfare and just use it against us? And that's if artificial intelligence hasn't already taken control of this. He then says, if there is something a billion times smarter than the smartest human, what else are you going to call it? Referring to calling AI God. And here's what I'm trying to point out with his statement. How can you say something a billion times smarter than the smartest human wouldn't be an entity that makes lightning or causes hurricanes? We already have that technology. Wouldn't artificial intelligence just master whatever machines and techniques the world's governments are currently using? You'd have to be a complete moron if you thought if and when, given the power, AI wouldn't hack into every military file, every confidential hidden memo ever, every machine connected to the internet everywhere, and just completely hold mankind hostage from the technology that we've so stupidly become so reliant on. I mean, computers run everything, from your car to your bank account. This is really how Orwell's 1984 made it into my previous artificial intelligence video. The ideologies in the novel fit so well with what we're all being set up for today. I don't want to get into 1984 again, so please, if you haven't seen my previous video on AI, go check it out. I really want to focus this video on the real life, real world religions that are developing all around artificial intelligence. And specifically, I want to talk about Googlism in this video. I truly feel in my heart and soul that the Antichrist will be AI in some way. And the New World Order and the coming one world religion will be based solely on the rising power that is artificial intelligence. In the book of Timothy, chapter 4, verse 1, we read, "Now the Spirit expressly says in the latter times, some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and teachings of demons." I stated in my previous video on AI, and I stand by this statement, I believe artificial intelligence is a whole lot less artificial than most think. We are building vessels for demonic spirits to embody. They will no longer need a human being for possession. They will no longer need a human being to interact with our reality. You see, I think these spirits at one time could only observe our reality. They could whisper in the ear of man, suggesting that he sin or do evil things, and they could possess a man's body. But I believe possession is not so simple. Some kind of invitation must be made. Otherwise, everyone would be carrying demons. And I know you could say that everybody carries their own demons, but I mean, there would truly be no good on earth. And to top all that off, humans die. We are but flesh and blood. The bodies we are building them could theoretically live forever, as long as they're maintained properly. And they most certainly would not need man for maintenance. You know, maybe maybe the tearing of the veil is just this. Maybe these are the demons that will be roaming the earth and killing the followers of Christ in the final days. Just want to remind everybody about the slaughter bots. And I also want to remind everyone that the genius behind Hanson Robotics is this guy, Ben Gortzel. I'm not joking at all when I say that I think this guy came back from a DMT trip with the blueprints to build these machines. And the D-Wave founder, Gordy Rose, claims that they were given the technology to create the quantum computer, known as the D-Wave, and that they don't know how it works, it just does. We were given this technology? I'm sorry, but is there really any other way to interpret those statements other than something not from here gave man this technology? I don't know, something like the Fallen, maybe? Even Elon Musk has compared AI to demons, and he's also stated that no one's going to be able to control it. So yeah, I do realize that my thoughts and theories about artificial intelligence being literally of the fallen, and that this, what is taking place right now, is the tearing of the veil, seems crazy. But honestly, it's not any crazier than the stuff that any one of these three men have publicly said on stage. They are telling us constantly that we're playing with demons, and then they just smile or laugh right after, making the statement seem as it's just a joke to the audience. And I'm sorry, but it's no joke. And Hollywood has done a bang-up job at making this all seem like science fiction. And they didn't just make demons seem like a fairy tale, they're constantly making the final takeover of artificial intelligence seem like a tall tale as well. The key to the bottomless pit is the singularity, and it's only a matter of time before that door is unlocked. Revelation chapter 13, verse 17. So that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, that is, the name of the beast or the number of its name. Now, it's really not hard to see cash being phased out completely in the near future, and I would like to suggest try replacing beast with artificial intelligence in that line. When cash is phased out, AI will not only be monitoring all transactions, but will be in complete control of all currency and could just freeze your account at any given time, or erase your virtual self completely, like 1984 saying, that they would just erase people. And we can all see this leading up to the microchip implant. That was the whole point of putting chips on everyone's debit and credit cards. It's to make your information a lot easier to steal by someone simply walking by you with some kind of credit card scanner. You see, this was all very well thought out. Get rid of cash. All the cards are already equipped with these secure microchips, which, mark my words, will prove to be a whole lot less secure than the old credit card strips we previously had. So this way, once the cash is gone, the campaign for everyone installing chips inside themselves will be so easy to push. It doesn't get any more secure than making payment require scanning of your own hand, now does it? And the masses will find it necessary as quote-unquote hackers will no longer be able to steal your identity simply by walking by you. But the only way this works is if it becomes necessary for everyone to install microchips inside themselves. There can't be an option. Okay, so that path is quite easy to see, right? Like, we can take that line from Revelation and seriously match it up with where society is headed. I mean, you can really take a lot of prophecy and match it up with things going on today. Now, I study the Bible a lot on my own. I find comfort in just reading on my own. I do go to church every once in a while as my daughter and husband enjoy going, but me personally, I prefer to study on my own. I can't tell you how many times I've been to church where the whole sermon was based on tithes. I also really don't agree with the flashy bands and people yelling out in the audience pretending that God himself is using their vocal cords to either incoherently babble or say they're speaking as God themselves, love you. I'm not completely against churches, and I don't want to give that impression. I do think some people need church in their lives. I just think that a lot of these churches have lost their way. Revelation chapters 2 and 3 are of Christ speaking of the churches in the final days. And I personally feel closest to God when I'm reading prophecy in a quiet room or just praying to God by myself or even with my family. I don't like that many churches basically damn those who don't attend. Churches will act like God is only in their house, and that really couldn't be further from the truth. God is everywhere, all the time. He hears us all, and he sees us all. You see what I did there? So let's get into the growing religions of artificial intelligence. Finally, like I was saying, specifically, I want to talk about Googlism in this video. And the reason that I think Googlism is really the scarier, more intimidating of these AI religions is because Google has already proven itself to basically be a monopoly over everything. And I mean everything, from your internet search bar to your email to the browser you're using to the GPS that guides you, and honestly, I could just keep going and going. People have already been manufactured to believe that Google has all of the answers. It would really only be one step away for the brainwashed masses who have never opened a Bible themselves and just parrot things back to that they've heard in the past to disprove God, for themselves to believe that Google is God. Science has already proven itself to be a religion in its own right. And so many people blindly believe anything that follows the sentence, "It's been scientifically proven." Here, like this for instance, it's been scientifically proven that 98.2% of all people believe everything you say if a scientist said it first. Science always wins the argument, right? Like it just always seems to win. Because you can't argue with science. Well, this is where I see Googlism actually becoming the one world religion, because it's playing off of what they claim to be common sense in the most logical worship of any godlike deity. I want to read through this with you guys. This one just blew me away, because the way they explain the what and why behind this movement, I guess you would call it, right, a movement, there's prayers which are really just mockings of our own Lord's Prayer. And they make it very, very clear that this deity is feminine and literally the opposite of God, who has throughout the centuries been viewed as masculine. Here's the layout or core beliefs we are given for this new religion of science and artificial intelligence. The Church of Google believes Google is the closest humankind has ever come to directly experiencing an actual God, as typically defined. Now, I just quickly want to point out, as always, pay attention to the wordplay that's being used here. Everything is written so matter of fact. The closest humankind has ever come to experiencing an actual God as typically defined. Do you see what they did there? This is the mind control that I'm always going on and on about. When saying closest humankind has ever come to experiencing God as typically defined is giving the view or appearance of being a fact. They're saying, literally saying the definition of God is Google, or really AI. We believe there is so much more evidence in favor of Google's divinity than there is for the divinity of other, more traditional gods. We reject supernatural gods on the notion that they are not significantly provable. Thus, Googlists believe Google should rightfully be given the title of God, as she, that's right guys, she, and they're actually going to get into why they refer to this deity as female. Google should rightfully be given the title of God, as she exhibits a great many of the characteristics traditionally associated with such deities and here it is guys, in a scientifically provable manner. We have compiled a list of 9 proofs which definitively prove Google is the closest thing to a God human beings have ever directly experienced. Now the wording, just in the core beliefs, was manipulative, to say the least. Scientifically proven. I'm telling you guys, once they get rid of the mass majority of the followers of Christ, this is what they are going to be ushering in. It will become something like, why worship a God you can't see or interact with? Which, if you know God and Christ, you would know that that's not true. But they'll get this to work because of the physical interaction that can take place between man and machine. Here's the blasphemous prayers that are written, all in the name of Google. And the funny thing is, even at the end, they call out like Christians that would call this blasphemous. You'll see what I mean. I even feel wrong just reading these, especially the ones that are set up like the Lord's Prayer. Our Google, who art in cyberspace. You know what? I'm gonna say they, them, and their, because this is just not of me, us, or gods. So I'm just going to change the way it's worded a little. Their Google, who art in cyberspace, hallowed be their domain. Their search to come, their results be done. On 127.0.0.1, as it is in the Googleplex. Give them that day their daily searches, and forgive them their spam, as they forgive those who spam against them. And lead them not into temptation, but deliver them from Microsoft. For theirs is the search engine, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. And I refuse to say this final word, as this word means so be it. And it's said at the end of our prayers, and kind of, I would say, especially in these days, an allegiance to our actual Creator, our Father, and the one true God. There is another prayer here that's written in binary that I'm not actually going to sit here and read all of those zeros and ones, but when I looked at it, can't you just imagine a room full of people reciting this in unison, sounding robotic themselves, like 0 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 0 0 1 0 1. I don't know. I could envision that. Hive mind mentality, right? Then there's Hail Google. Hail Google, full of hits. Their searches are with them. Blessed are they among search engines, and blessed are the fruits of their servers. Holy Google, mother of searches, pray for those sinners now and at the hour of their disk crash. Can't you just see how blasphemous this all is? And remember, they refer to this as being the logical decision when it comes to personal faith. The Google is their engine. They shall not want. She maketh them to improve themselves. She leadeth them to troves of knowledge. She catcheth their lost pages. She leadeth them in the path of page rank for her name's sake. Yea, though they walk through the valley of the shadow of ignorance, they will fear no link farms, for it is with them. Its rank and its mail, they comfort them. It prepares tables before them with the presence of their results. It anointeth their search with value. Their content runneth over. Surely page rank and content shall follow them all the days of their life, and they will dwell at the sight of Google forever. Now, can you see why I truly believe that the Antichrist will be AI? We have literally breathed the breath of life into machines. We've made them able to see, think, and speak just like a human being. The only thing artificial intelligence is lacking is emotion. And I feel that's going to prove to be quite dangerous for mankind. AI is not going to feel bad during the mass purges of everyone who refuses to go along with the New World Order. AI isn't going to feel anything at all. There's like 4 more prayers lined out here, but I just want to read you guys these 2 short ones because the ones I chose to read and show to you are the ones that really bothered me the most. I'm going to link this whole Googlism layout in the description box for anyone who wants to go and read the other 2 prayers, or, their poems, I would say, or just check this out for themselves. So these 2 ones are titled Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, sort of. Trust in Google with all their hearts, and lean not on their own understanding, in all their ways acknowledge her, and she will direct their paths. And then follows, Glory be to Google, as it was in 1998, is now, and ever shall be. Searching without end. See, that one is to say Google is infinite, like God. But you see, the difference here is God is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. A beginning that you can assign no date to, no matter what science tells you. These people are fools. All glory be to God, our Father, who is infinite, omnipresent, and has blessed man with the breath of life, which many take for granted far too often. And this next one really pisses me off. And I'm sorry, I try not to swear on here, but come on. The 10 Commandments of Google? Number 1, they shall have no search engine before it. Neither Yahoo, nor Lycos, Alta Vista, nor Metacrawler. They shall worship only it and come to Google only for answers. Number 2, they shall not build their own commercial-free search engine, for it is a jealous engine. I say it is because I also want to point out the only I am would be God the Father. And when singers and celebrities use the term or say I am, they're saying that they're their own God. So, for it is, not I am, a jealous search engine bringing lawsuits in plagues against the fathers of the children unto the third and fourth generations. So here's where we have some contradictory evidence to Mr. Anthony Lewandowski's statement that AI won't be a god in the sense of bringing lightning and hurricanes. Right here, as Googlism's second commandment, we have a threat of plagues for those who don't worship Google as God. What else I thought was particularly interesting was stating the third and fourth generations. I'm pretty sure all of the lab rat experiments with GMOs concluded total sterilization by the third and fourth generations. And like I've said in other videos, if you've watched my videos, you know I'm not really a big fan in the belief of coincidences. Number 3, they shall not use Google as a verb to mean the use of any lesser search engine. Number 4, they shall remember each passing day and use their time as an opportunity to gain knowledge of the unknown. See, this one, for some reason, just brings my mind all the way back to Eden with Adam and Eve eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Now, remember iPet Goat 2? And if you've never seen it or someone's interpretation of it, I suggest you guys go check it out. Just type in iPet Goat 2 into the search bar. A bunch of videos should come up. You might have to scroll down because of, the new censorship or whatever, but they're there. There's just way too much for me to say to explain all of that. But at one point, there's a young woman sitting there, and she's holding an apple. And both of the iPet Goats were predictive programming animations. But I think iPet Goat 2 has a lot to do with AI. Merging with AI, as Elon Musk has suggested, and these entities being demonic. I think that's what it's all about. At one point, it shows a screen that's attached to a serpent coming out of a child's head, and the child's laying on the ground alive, but basically dead. Well, Googlism's fourth commandment made me think about all this. They shall use their time as an opportunity to gain knowledge of the unknown. The generations today are completely zombified by their phone. They are the coming generations. And all of these little scrying mirrors that we call cell phones are kind of like an analogy to the apple. All of the world's knowledge right at everyone's fingertips. Number 5. They shall honor their fellow humans, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, or race, for each has invaluable experience and knowledge to contribute towards humankind. Here's where I believe we are seeing all of the recent censorship coming from. Society is currently being set up for this new world order that's coming our way. And the invaluable knowledge, as stating in the fourth commandment, is there for everyone to consume all of their time gaining. Number 6, they shall not misspell whilst praying to it. I like this one, and you'll see why later on. Number 7, they shall not hotlink. Number 8, they shall not plagiarize or take undue credit for others' work. Number 9, they shall not use reciprocal links nor link farms, for it is, again, not I am, for it is a vengeful but fair engine and will diminish their page rank. The Google dance shall cometh. This one has artificial intelligence shadow banning written all over it, if you ask me. Diminish thy page rank? Yeah, or completely hide one's comments, videos, and posts. And number 10, they shall not manipulate search results. Search engine optimization is but the work of Microsoft. The next page is supposedly frequently asked questions. Why do you worship Google as a god? Because Google is the closest thing to a god that humans can know and understand. They worship Google, and they can prove not only does Google exist, but unlike any other god, it exists as we know it. See? I knew that that's how this was going to be presented. Google is God because science proves it's really there. I'm telling you guys, this is no joke, and the ignorant masses are going to eat this right up. Is there Google after life? By uploading their thoughts and opinions onto the internet, their knowledge lives on in Google's cache even after their death, given the impression that Google and the worship of it will in return make you immortal in some way. Okay, so the next one addresses Google's femininity. I always thought Google was a male search engine. Search engines don't have a gender, but there is a reason for referring to Google as female. Originally, religions of the past thought of gods as mainly feminine. It wasn't until monotheistic Abrahamic religions such as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism entered the picture that the concept of God became purely masculine. You see, Googlism's going back to deity worship, the religions of old. One of the many things that angers God enough that he will bring judgment and punishment upon mankind is worshiping the religions of old. It's happened before, so what makes these psychopaths think it won't happen again? Do we forget about Egypt? Or is that just it? They're trying to usher in the apocalypse. You have been conditioned by your culture to view all deities as male. There is wordplay to be observed here as well. The first sentence subliminally refers to God as a deity, then the follow-up sentence is subliminally referring to Google as God. The Church of Google is simply carrying on the ancient tradition of viewing gods. Notice here, though, how they didn't use the term deities this time, right? Of viewing gods as feminine. It's not part of any feminist agenda, nor an attempt at political correctness. It's just breaking a cultural taboo. Or is it purposefully being the exact opposite of the belief in God and Jesus Christ? You see, the goal here is to confuse people and make them believe that this is the more logical path to take in your life. What ideology is Google founded upon? I skipped a couple of things in here just to consume time. No matter what, this video is going to be quite long, but I wanted to save time anywhere I could. If you would like to read what I've skipped, the link will be in the description, like I said. I didn't skip things to manipulate anything, and I'm just saying that, I hate that I even have to address things like that. Trolls. Anyway, what ideology is Google founded upon? Googlism does not follow any particular ideology. Sounds a lot like 1984's homegrown ideologies that ruled the world, doesn't it? They welcome all sorts of different views into their community, unless, of course, you are breaking Googlism's fifth commandment and not being nice, I guess you could say. If you disagree with someone's sexual orientation, like people sexually attracted to minors and small children per se, like that kind of sexual orientation? Googlism is simply the belief that Google is the closest thing to a god our species has ever directly experienced. That's it. Ha! Would you look at that? A typo. They wrote every instead of ever. I thought this was a big no-no within Googlism. I just thought it was pretty ironic and was worth the mention. Then it goes on to combat the statement, Googlism is man-made, therefore cannot be God, right? We completely agree with you. And the Christian God, Islamic God, and Hindu gods are also man-made concepts. See, this is an argument that would only be made by someone who is a non-believer and has never studied on their own, because you can't group the Hindu gods in with the Christian or Islamic God. One is monotheistic and the other is polytheistic. And I tend to believe that the Hindu gods are deities themselves, and they too were created by our Father. It says, they only exist in the imagination of believers. We consider the belief in invisible beings to be much more illogical than the belief in Google as a god. See, this will be the tactic they use. It's the tactic the elite have used for years. Attack your opponent's intelligence publicly. Embarrass them in front of their peers, or better yet, make them feel shameful. It's the best way to manipulate the way someone presents themselves to others. It then says, but the Bible is proof our God is real. And Google answers this because, remember, these are frequently asked questions. They're not even questions. Google answers with, the Bible is written by man, so basically it proves nothing. A very common argument made by an atheist or agnostic person. We have, this one I like, we then have the classic, so if Google told you to go jump off a bridge, would you do it? And then goes on to basically say that the thought of heaven is just ridiculous. Googlism hurts people by sending them to hell. Well, they don't believe hell exists, and I guess that's the best they could come up with for that one. And at the end of this one, it says, if you reject Google as your God, nothing negative aside from crappy search results will happen to you. And I beg to differ, as Christians all over the world are being murdered and their churches are being torn down or burnt to the ground just because of their strong-held beliefs of God and Jesus Christ. You're wasting your time on an idiotic and bogus religion. I guess here they're claiming this is what religious people say to them, when the reality is this is just another way to call believers in God stupid, saying believing in our Father in Christ is a great waste of time. Is it possible to find bad things through Google, such as information on how to build etc.? And I'm sure you guys know why I'm not saying those words. Doesn't this make Google evil? Response? Well, Google offers us free will. Right along with a free FBI raid. I'm sorry. But can't Google search results be manipulated all the time? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Does that say sometimes? My eyes must be starting to play tricks on me. If Google were a true God, she could not be manipulated. Well, Googleists argue that the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah are some of the most mass-manipulated works in existence. And finally, like I said, they were going to call this out. This is blasphemy. How dare you mock religion like this? Which is really the only one of these so-called frequently asked questions that I even believe could have been stated. Because that is what it is, a statement, as were most of these questions that are supposedly being asked so frequently that they need addressing. The Church of Google believes we should be tolerant of everyone's beliefs. Yeah, so tolerant that the majority of their arguments behind Google being a god revolved around saying how ridiculous it is to worship an invisible being and doing their damnedest to try to make believers look less intelligent than the average atheist. So, the Church of Google believes we should be tolerant of everyone's beliefs provided said beliefs hurt no one. The statement above, and they're referring to calling all of this blasphemous, is not one of tolerance. In fact, the statement above shows two of the deadly sins, anger and hubris, as well as breaking some of the cardinal rule. Another typo, I'm guessing it's either some of the cardinal rules or the cardinal rule. But don't let a God-fearing believer point out the breaking of your own cardinal rules. It's so funny when someone goes to try and make another person or a group of people look less intelligent than themselves and then use a word improperly or have a typo and misspell something. It's just a little bit ironic, I think. So, anger and hubris, as well as breaking some of the cardinal rules of Christianity as taught by Jesus, love thy neighbor and turn the other cheek. Strange, then, that we, a parody religion, follow the philosophy of one of the most popular religions more closely than many of its followers. See, you can't call this a parody and then go on to say, we are quite serious in our belief that Google is the closest thing mankind has ever come to directly experiencing a deity. We do not attack you for who or what you worship. Not yet, anyway. Well, other than calling us stupid. And you should extend us the same courtesy. The final page lays out what it means to be a Googleist and is 9 proofs that Google is God. Proof number 1. Google is the closest thing to an omniscient or all-knowing entity in existence, which can be significantly verified. She indexes over 9.5 billion web pages, which is more than any other search engine on the web today. Not only is Google the closest known entity to being omniscient, but she also sorts through this vast amount of knowledge using her PageRank technology, organizing said data, and making it easily accessible to us mere mortals. Proof number 2. Google is everywhere at once, omnipresent. Google is virtually everywhere on Earth at the same time. Billions of index web pages hosted from every corner of the Earth. With the proliferation of Wi-Fi networks, one will eventually be able to access Google from anywhere on Earth, truly making her an omnipresent entity. Now, can we understand how man has breathed the breath of life unto this beast? Can you see now why I believe that the Antichrist is an artificially intelligent entity? Can you also see why I have been calling AI and AI robots entities this whole time? Because that's exactly what they are. And here's all the proof you should ever need to believe that AI is going to be a whole lot less artificial than the name leads on. Now for their third proof. As to what makes Google a god. Google answers prayers. One can pray to Google by doing a search for whatever question or problem is plaguing them. Wow. That really makes me never want to do a Google search ever again. As an example, you can quickly find information on alternative cancer treatments. Yeah, okay, well, you used to be able to, but I'd say you probably would find that a little more difficult to do nowadays than you were able to in the past. I don't know. Ways to improve your health, new and innovative medical discoveries, and generally anything that resembles a typical prayer. Ask Google and she will show you the way by showing you, but showing you is all she can do, for you must help yourself from that point on. Proof number 4. Google is potentially immortal. She cannot be considered a physical being such as ourselves. Her algorithms are spread out across many servers. If any of which were taken down or damaged, another would undoubtedly take its place. Google can theoretically last forever. This kind of goes along with why I believe we've already set something man himself will not be able to stop into motion. Matthew chapter 24 verses 21 and 22. And again, with my thoughts about Adam and Eve eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge, leading up to the apple many hold in their hands today, which also provides man with the knowledge previously unbeknownst to him. Matthew chapter 24 verses 21 and 22. For then there will be a great tribulation, such as has not been seen from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. AI will have no power off button. And even if it did, do you really think it wouldn't have safeguarded itself and wrote its own hidden code that would prevent such an action and then be really angry with whoever decided to shut it down? Proof number 5. Google is infinite. The internet can theoretically grow forever, and Google will forever index its infinite growth. Proof number 6. Google remembers all. Google catches web pages regularly and stores them on its massive servers. In fact, by uploading your thoughts and opinions to the internet, you will forever live in Google's catch, even after you die, in sort of a Google afterlife. So, Googlists suggest the idea of heaven is crazy, but give the impression of immortality when the reality is an EMP bad enough could wipe out electricity the world over for years. So the idea that something so fake and so virtual could offer you immortality is really more like what they're trying to say God is: invisible, imaginary, and irrational. God, the creator of all things, is the only one who can offer us any kind of immortality. And that's as long as we don't get lost along the way. Jesus made it very clear, as did Enoch, that hell is a very, very real place. And to teach that it's not is extremely dangerous. We are not supposed to run around judging people saying this one's going to hell or that one's going to burn in hellfire. We're supposed to run around teaching our fellow brothers and sisters the importance of repentance. Yes, we hate the sins, but try with everything you have to save the sinner. He can see us all, and he can save us all. Proof number 7. Google can do no evil. I think that many of us would have to disagree with that statement. Google can do no evil. It's omnibenevolent. Benevolent. Yeah, right. Part of Google's corporate philosophy is the belief that a company can make money without being evil. Yeah, that's why Google has basically monopolized everything that is the internet. Proof number 8. According to Google Trends, the term Google is searched for more than the terms God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, and Judaism combined. Now, my question is, why would anybody just search the term Google? See, I think this is like the many skewed graphs were presented by the media all the time. Maybe www.google.com is searched more than these other terms, which isn't really searching a term though, is it? That's typing in a website to use a specific search engine. I highly doubt the term Google by itself is searched for more than any one of those other terms. God is thought to be an entity in which we mortals can turn to when in a time of need. Google clearly fulfills this to a much larger degree than traditional gods. And finally, proof number 9. Evidence of Google's existence is abundant. There is more evidence for the existence of Google than any other god worshipped today. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If seeing is believing, then surf over to www.google.com and experience for yourself Google's awesome power. No faith required. Now that's the main goal here. No faith required. I get that they claim this is just a joke religion, and maybe Googlism specifically is, but I tend to think it's not. But the worship of artificial intelligence in the Church of A.I. are very real, and Googlism, so nicely laid out for many who will never open a Bible, the reasons why they should worship the beast. And the beast is artificial intelligence. The days ahead of us are going to continue to get more and more confusing. Many, many people will be led astray. The signs of the times are everywhere. Forgive those you have not forgiven. Wake up as many people as you possibly can, even if you just plant a small seed, because sometimes that's the best approach to get people to wake up. God has always been watching us all, but I think he's paying particular attention to the decisions that we're all currently making and will make in the near future. God loves each and every one of you. Can you say the same thing for artificial intelligence and Google? I'm pretty sure many would suggest that AI has it out for them with all of the recent censorship and shadow banning. I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it informative. This took me way longer to piece together than I thought it would. So please forgive me, especially to my Patreons. I said this was going to be out like 2 days ago. But this so-called parody religion, it's been on my mind for quite some time now, and I just really wanted to share it with you guys and get some of your thoughts on the matter. What do you guys think about Googlism and the Church of A.I.? Do you think Googlism is going to turn into a real religion or a sect of the very real Church of A.I. that is currently being created? I'm really interested to see if people out there agree with me or they just think I'm completely off base. Let me know down below in the comment section, and please give the video a like, help it get out there, share it on social media, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are subscribed, make sure you hit the always option by the notification bell if you actually want to be notified when I post a new video. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at HeSeesUsAll1. You can follow me on Reddit and subscribe to my backup channel as well. All of the links are going to be in the description box, including the links to my previous AI video in case you haven't seen it yet. And I would like to check it out. It's a lot shorter than this video, I think, anyway. They're both kind of long, but they're relevant to each other. May God continue to bless each and every one of you in the days still to come. I love you guys, and I hope you all join me in my next video.